The audience not dumb. The audience not dumb. The audience not dumb. The audience not dumb.
The audience not dumb. There couldn't be a better line to perfectly encapsulate the shift in internet culture that has happened in the last 6 months. Mr. Beast has been outed for being an edgy teenager and having a creepy friend. Danny Gonzalez canceled himself over a Starbucks cup. Moist Critical ended up in drama after he debated Sneeko and expressed an opinion for the first time ever. And Boogie2988's
That's it. Everyone's going down.
Cathedral of harmless corpulence continues to crumble.
That I'm getting called by all of my favorite creators a liar when I'm not lying.
Along with many others, it's truly been a landmark year for the cancellation of the internet's biggest
He literally lied.
creators. And we're only halfway through the year. All of these people have their own internal controversies, and most of them deserve the backlash they've been facing. But this isn't about the ones who have been cancelled for obvious and justifiable reasons. This is about a larger trend that marks a cultural shift in what we engage with and how we engage with it. Massive careers in media, and especially ones on the internet, are built on reliability, neutrality, and milquetoast takes. And in a world that people perceive to be facing new cultural and existential threats every day, this will no longer suffice. The audience knows when they're being entertained. The audience knows when they're being lied to. And the audience knows when someone isn't who they seem to be. The audience not dumb.
I mean, not really. They know when they're being entertained, but they don't know when they're being lied to. Otherwise, politics wouldn't be around.
That's why 2024 will be the death of the normie. Subscribe if you're not dumb. Let's start with Charlie, Moist Critical, as he's the most recent example. Sneeko and Charlie had a debate over Twitch over Sneeko's claims that Charlie refused to engage with the Chris Tyson drama. And the whole thing degraded into a bizarre argument about the age of consent for marriage, and came to a head when Charlie expressed that he believed people under 18 can't consent to marriage, but can consent to gender reassignment surgery. Something that's a logical inconsistency, as you think he'd believe people under 18 either can or can't consent, no matter what it is. Sneeko passed the debate with immunity because he's had so much ridiculous shit over the years that no one's really surprised he's arguing for 15-year-olds getting married, but I digress. But Charlie was so affected by this, so torn up by the backlash, that he quit his podcast and announced that he's gonna step back from some of his social media presence. Charlie has been accused of always echoing the most popular take on any given topic. And for a channel that has pivoted from talking about gaming to just talking unscripted in front of a webcam every day for 10 minutes, it'd be fair to criticize someone whose career is built on commentating for having no true thought-through opinions. But the fact of the matter is, you're
I don't know, I saw a video with Charlie saying that the reason why he quit the podcast was just because he, I don't know, wasn't getting a lot out of it, and it was just taking up a lot of time. But, I mean, connecting it to this, I guess makes sense, because, you know, that's pretty stressful having to deal with, you know, that group of people. You know,
You're not going to grow a channel to 17 million subscribers by being truthful, authentic, and controversial. There's a level of growth that is simply unachievable without self-censorship and not deviating from the norm. That's easy when you're an actor or a musician. Those people are there to provide a specific service. They're there to give you a performance or an experience, not be your best friend. Personally, I don't really want to know what Black Country New Road thinks about Zionism. I just want to hear them play that sweet, sweet, sad music. But when your entire career is built off of you sitting in your room yapping every day, you're gonna reach a point where you have to be a real person, where people are gonna suss out what you really think. You don't have the luxury of being aloof, mysterious, or ironic. There comes a point where it's no longer performance. It's just you. I'm not claiming that Charlie is some secretly politically engaged edgelord or lib. It's pretty obvious he's just a normal guy.
I'm literally just a normal guy.
But that doesn't change the fact audiences are beginning to demand more concrete positions from creators. Now, the case against Boogie is much different, but he's not immune from the collapse of the nice guy empire. Boogie is someone whose entire career is built on the character of the lovable fat nerd. He's harmless, he's neutral, he's your goofy fat friend. But when you're going for the nice guy aesthetic, you have a lot farther to fall when you slip.
yeah, people want you to take like a firm position because they have to think less. You know, thinking takes a lot of energy, and most people don't want to do that. They just want to box you into a category so that they could, you know, make judgments and not really have to put a whole lot of thought into it.
At this point, Boogie has been outed for faking cancer, spending $300,000 a year on prostitutes, manipulating his audience,
Dude, that's legit.
and trying to get them to buy into a very obvious crypto rug pull. All shady behavior bordering on fraud in its own right, but also things that hit a lot harder when you've built
200K on hookers? Dude, that's insane. Who is he trying to hire? Shakira?
your entire career off of being harmless and kind. And again, a facade that's impossible to maintain when you spent the last 10 years talking to your f***ing webcam every day. Danny Gonzalez, whose controversy and very existence I'm entirely convinced is mass hysteria, got in trouble 2 months ago for having a Starbucks cup in the frame of one of his videos. In reality, it seems that Danny got a small amount of backlash and used it preemptively as
I don't see what the big deal is with that.
an opportunity to signal that he stands with his peers. Starbucks has been boycotted by some pro-Palestine protesters as they condemned a tweet from their workers' union standing with Palestine after the October 7th attacks. And this controversy falls on the lap of someone who's built his entire career being a nice guy who was just a vessel for TikTok reactions and AdSense revenue. He used this controversy to simultaneously play the victim and signal his congruence from what's expected of him from his audience. He's tightening the leash to prevent it getting yanked in the future. This isn't a moral judgment or a critique of his work from me. It's just a recognition that this content is old world, something that will have a hard time surviving the cultural shift we're experiencing. And the same can be said for Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is arguably one of the most famous people alive, and has now spent the last month in a
This is probably the biggest potential downfall that we've ever seen. I mean, I don't know. I think he'll probably be able to survive this, but we'll see.
flurry of controversy for things his friend has said in the past, mainly making edgy jokes to minors over Discord and buying lolicon artwork from Shadman, who is like literally the internet's Jeffrey Epstein, as well as many other allegations that will cause me to lose my mind. You'd think that if this was as cut and dry as it seems, Mr. Beast could just disavow Chris Tyson and move on. But it's going much deeper. This is someone who has gained 300 million subscribers without any major controversy. A fact that is now definitely shifting as all eyes are on his next move. It's almost as if people are waiting for Mr. Beast to make some big cultural statement on the matter. Look at these dislikes on his newest video. What do you want from him? You want to sacrifice Chris in a volcano in his next video? The internet just isn't interested in the philanthropic nice guy game show host anymore. They're beginning to want something more. Not only because of the rapid shifts in the cultural and geopolitical climate we face every day, but also from shifts in how the internet operates and how internet culture operates. In the past 12 years, the internet has become something entirely different, but it used to be simpler.
It used to be way simpler.
There's a music video by a band called The Gag Quartet titled Le Internet Medley. Over 40 memes in one song. This song was one of the most viral videos when it was released in 2012, and basically included everything relevant to internet culture
I've never heard of this video.
in one song. That was it. That was the whole internet. YouTube still made rewinds to sum up the whole year. You could just sum up the entirety of YouTube. 2012 was titled YouTube Rewind Style. Maybe some of my audience is too young to remember, but the internet used to be an object. It was a separate platform of entertainment that was one of many options. The same way live music, movies, and video games were all separate. Okay, so video games are a medium of entertainment, and consoles are the platform for the medium. All with their own subcultures and memes. Xbox 360 was for the Kyles. You drink Monster Energy. You use the orange skull profile picture. Your name is
That's like the OG meme period.
something edgy like XX Bloodsoaked 69XX. PS3 was a little bit more sophisticated. You played Battlefield 3 instead of Modern Warfare 2. Your username was something nice, like Velvet Crimson. If you played PC, you spent 2 weeks troubleshooting Oblivion mods, only just to play the sewer, kill the Emperor, resurrect the Emperor, give him titty jiggle physics, and quit after 45 minutes. Anyway, just like video game consoles, the epic internet was the same way. Fast forward over a decade, and the internet is no longer just one thing. It's everything. There is no longer a concise internet culture separate from other forms of media. The internet now encapsulates the entirety of culture. It's where culture...
Yeah, it's pretty much everything. Like mainstream media has transitioned to the internet, mainstream TV pretty much. Pretty much if you don't have an internet presence and you're someone that relies on getting paid by entertaining people, you're missing out on so much.
is born, there will never again be a thing that exists outside of the internet. Really think about that. There will never again be a band, a fashion movement, a celebrity, a political figure that gains prominence and relevance outside of the internet entirely. The internet is no longer this separate object that you casually engage with. The internet is no longer a place to hide. It's no longer an escape. The internet is no longer an object. It's a hyper-object. Okay, so this is a piece of foam. It came in the box of a projector I bought on Amazon. It was made by heating plastic and blasting it with air in a mold in some factory in China. It was put in the box to protect the projector. It was shipped to Canada. I'm gonna throw this out after this video and never think about it again. But the foam doesn't go away. The foam stays forever, along with all other pieces of foam, all other pieces of plastic. Long after I'm dead, this piece of foam will be polluting the soil. Its toxins seeping into the world's flora, being ingested by humans and affecting us for thousands of years. This piece of foam as an object is definable. I'm looking at it, I'm holding it, it has edges, but the piece of foam as a concept is endless, it's boundless. A single human can't grasp its ramifications.
I just realized that guy's shirt says father.
And it's the exact same way with the internet. That's what a hyperobject is. It's an object with no boundaries. An object whose consequences and influences we can never possibly grasp. We all have our own corners of the net, our own celebrities. I open Instagram and I see Ukraine war drone footage and binturongs. You may see skateboards and Rick and Morty bongs. I open Twitter and I see Ukraine war drone footage, only this time it's anti-Semitic, and whatever this is. You probably just see hopecore millennial memes. There's this guy on YouTube named Marcel Voss, and he makes Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 videos. I have watched everything he has put out, every time it's released, for over a year, along with over 100,000 other people. A small city of people. And you've probably gone your whole life never having heard of this person up until now. Someone that more people have seen than saw Jesus Christ in the flesh. That's what hyperobject means. That's the internet. It's an object that exists outside of space and time, whose boundaries and influences can never be fully understood. The internet is a hyperobject that holds the entirety of culture within.
The internet is basically just our hive mind, in a way.
A culture that is also massively transformed in the last decade. A culture that has become volatile, divided, and extremely political. Have you ever heard someone say,
Literally everything's falling apart.
don't pay attention to politics. Politics are beyond me. I just stay out of it. When you were growing up, was it taboo to talk about politics at the dinner table? Your grandfather would say something blatantly racist, and everyone would just bite their tongue in order to keep the peace. Politics used to have a definition. Discussing politics was discussing what was going on in the political system. Bills, scandals, senators, the performance of prime ministers and presidents. This is an old world concept of politics, and the term was expanded to describe literally anything you want it to. If you asked a Canadian for a political hot take, would you expect them to say A,
the culture of Canadian banks, Canadian financial institutions, which people love to criticize as being too conservative or too stodgy, there's a good reason why you want your bank to be conservative.
Coming in handy. Right?
Very handy, so I think that's one thing.
or B?
Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada to our north, is actually the son of a famous dictator, and frankly it appears to be true.
If you ask an American for a hot take on Biden's presidency, would you expect them to say A,
The Democrats'
That's a super hot take.
really only chance to win, contrary to everything you've heard, is with Biden running.
That guy right here apparently has predicted like the past, I don't know, like 10 or so presidential elections, something like that, correctly. He has some type of formula.
Look at the incumbency key. Biden checks that off. The contest key, he checks that off. He was uncontested.
or B?
This is a fake administration. It doesn't exist. And then you got a guy, when I look at pictures, I don't know how many guys are trying to be him. So I can recognize when somebody doesn't look the same. First of all, you got different looking eyes, different looking head, different looking earlobes. Well,
Not only is everything from men dyeing their hair to endocrine disruptors in the tap water become political, but everything is political in a world that is facing geopolitical and cultural instability, the likes of which Gen Z and millennials have not experienced yet. On an entertainment platform that is fueled by hot takes and engagement in order to function properly. Every major university across the Western world just spent the last 2 months with pro-Palestine encampments on their front lawns. There are massive anti-immigrant movements and riots breaking out all across Europe. There's currently 2 wars that seem to be days away from spilling over into a global conflict. The president just got shot, and no one can agree on who did it. Was it Democrats? Was it Republicans? Did Trump plan it himself? Was it WEF? Was it the deep state? There's literally no consensus on reality anymore. But this is a video about YouTubers. So allow me to land the plane here. As the internet consumes everything and everything has become political, there is no longer a place for normie creators on the internet. Politics will come for everybody. Mr. Beast's controversy isn't that just his friend is creepy and...
Yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna care until, like, stuff really hits the fan. That's just how people are. You know, they're not gonna care until, you know, their kid's hungry, or they can't, like, I don't know, play video games after work or something stupid like that.
Appear to be grooming somebody on Discord. It's also the fact that it seems like a large portion of his audience doesn't believe transgender people should be children's entertainers. Charlie's controversy isn't just the fact that he looked bad in a debate with Sneeko. It's the fact that he got roped into politics and made a statement that, for once, most of his audience didn't agree with. Danny Gonzalez had to cancel himself. Boogie is just a bad person. But my point still stands. The audience will always find out who you really are. The audience will now force you to take stances. The audience will now force you to be authentic. The audience not dumb. The idea of the wholesome internet nice guy is dead. It's old world. One can no longer infinitely expand their audience and target audience by being uncontroversial and entertaining. Even the biggest creators to come out of the internet in the last 2 years are extremely politically coded and engaged. Aiden Ross and iShowSpeed are both publicly pro-Palestine. Aiden Ross hangs out with Dana White and Andrew Tate and is getting Trump on his show. Jake Paul is extremely pro-Trump. George Janko left Logan Paul's podcast because he was too Christian. XQC is pivoting to gambling content on Kick where he spouts off about trans issues. The Nelk Boys stand Trump. Pokemon is pro-Palestine. Countless UFC fighters are now public right-wing figures for some reason.
Makes no sense. It was like, you don't talk about politics and religion originally in media, and now it's completely flipped.
You either choose to get political, or your audience will force you to do so. You either choose to be authentic, or your audience will force you to do so. It's a new world, and the internet is now the dominant medium of communication and entertainment. A medium that is definitionally radical, all-encompassing, and transparent. If you're going to build a career on the internet now, you have to play by the rules of the internet. You have to be transparent and authentic. It sucks, but if you don't like it, then go write a fucking book or something. Being authentic is going to require you to be inaccessible to certain audiences. If you suppress yourself, you will build an audience that doesn't know the real you. And when they find out who you really are, some of them are going to turn on you. For example, I have some videos that critique capitalism, but I don't consider myself far left, nor do I want a far left audience. I intentionally say retard at least once in all of my videos for the sole purpose of shaving off people who think I'm a safe lefty creator. We are in the midst of an unstoppable cultural shift, fueled by a world that seems to grow more unstable every day, and fanned by audiences that no longer just want to be entertained. You have to pick a side lest you be forced to or ridiculed for not doing so. You have to be political. The nice guy empire is collapsing, and the idea of the normie is dead. I don't want to go viral. I don't want the heat of having millions of people telling me what to think and guessing what I think all the time.
I don't think so. I think you just gotta maintain your position. You know, if that's really, like, the problem is like I said before, like, most issues in the world, I think, are like gray area type issues where, you know, they're pretty nuanced and there's not like a whole lot of black and white to it. But the problem is, again, like I mentioned before, like, that requires people to think. And if there's one thing that people hate to do, that is think.
So if this video gets some ungodly amount of views compared to my other content, and if you really care about me, you'll unwatch the video, you'll go outside, kiss your mommy and daddy on the cheek, and never kill yourself.